combination there.
Oh, Wilson throws that kick on the outside, and he's really pouring it on Albert Lee now. Lee is going to do well to make it out of this round at this rate.
Even though Albert's a little unorthodox, took him around to figure it out, but now he's just picking him apart.
Yeah, this is good work from Bill Wilson. Short elbows. Got the opportunity for some knees to the head as well.
Those head kicks.
Lee has got to be careful here. He's got to show some defense. Oh, this could be over. A good flurry from Bill Wilson. That calls a stop to it. A redemption for him after a tricky first round.
Ladies and gentlemen, the end comes officially 3 minutes, round number 2. Referee Raphael Davis puts a halt to the bout for your winner by TKO in his professional debut, Wild Bill Wilson!
And we are live. What's going on, guys? We are here. It is episode 8. As usual, I need to take some time out to thank you guys, the viewers, for rocking with us so tough. Our last episode, I think, is almost at 1,000 views. Nice. We are absolutely floored by that. You guys have really showed up for us, and we appreciate it. So please continue to do so. We're on our way to 100 subscribers. If you can just go right now, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you get any of our content and notification as soon as we upload stuff so you don't miss anything that we're bringing to you guys. Leave comments as well. We're going to be doing giveaways coming up. And we're going to be basing those off of you guys' comments. So get your practice in now. Start doing the comments. Go hit the button. It's free to do. Just do it. Okay. Without further ado, I want to bring to you someone that we have watched grow in the sport. So we had to bring him to you. He has just made his professional debut. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, sitting across from me, he is fighting out of San Diego, California from Coastal Combat. He came with his coach, Jake Hesselgrave today. I'm talking about Wild Bill Wilson. What's going on, my buddy? How you doing today?
Not too bad. Thanks for having me.
What's going on, Jake? How you feeling?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, we appreciate you. And as usual, to sit in and help me with the interview, I got my man BX Hef in the house. So
what up? What up?
All right, so we wanted to bring you out today because like I said, man, we've watched you grow. You are an epic, a baby of epic, and we wanted. Baby. But now he's like an epic teenager, right? He's making his debut.
We're getting there. Yeah,
he's on his way. So I wanted to bring you in and just kind of tell your story and see what you've got planned for the future, man. So.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot.
Obviously. Yeah. I mean, you're fighting now for Cage Warriors.
Yes, sir.
If anybody hasn't followed you, you're 2 fights into Cage Warriors now, and you're looking for your third?
Yep, 2 fights in a 3-fight contract. So I've got 1 more under contract with Cage Warriors that I'm looking forward to coming this new year. It's gonna be.
Have they set a date for that yet?
I believe they're so. If you guys don't know, Cage Warriors is a UK.
Oh, thank you for telling me.
Based promotion. Continue. Yeah, no worries. Likes of Conor McGregor, Paddy the Baddy, Joanna, so on and so forth, from who's who of UFC, European kind of lineage. So they did start branching out over to the US, specifically in the California, San Diego region. So they usually have been coming out on a span of maybe, I would say, 3 times a year?
Yeah,
on average.
Every quarter, essentially.
Yeah, something like that. So the next one's not till March, so that's where we're kind of looking for.
March?
Yeah.
Okay, hoping to slide in a slot there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you guys are in the San Diego or in or around the San Diego area, the venue that they fight out of is right down there by the bay, Humphreys by the Bay. It's a gorgeous venue.
Oh, yeah.
Really a unique place and space to witness an MMA event, and they've always got some of the best talent. Like you said, you've got Conor McGregor, Paddy the Baddy, who is now on the scene for UFC, and who's also based out of San Diego, and they've recognized San Diego as a mini mecca for MMA and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So expect a lot out of them. They got the iconic yellow gloves you see sitting at the end of the table. If you guys haven't tuned into them, tune into them. But enough about Cage Warriors. We're gonna get back to them. I want to talk about you. Yeah. You are from a little place called Massachusetts,
Yes,
Springfield, Massachusetts.
Yep, Western Mass, born and raised.
Now that is a unique place. My family hails from there now. My dad's wife and her entire family live in Springfield. So my dad is in Springfield, Massachusetts right now.
So I have a question.
Yes,
You've known me for how long?
about a year and a half, almost 2 years.
And you're just now bringing this up.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Damn,
How
did
dare
I just
you.
get called out? I just got called out on air. My bad. Here, gotta hit the wah on that one. Dude. That's just how it goes. My bad. Yeah, normally when I see you, you're like a little mini celebrity now. So you're always in someone's corner or pretty busy. So I try to like give you your space and time. And I knew I was going to bring you on the podcast, so I figured I'd ask you then.
Yeah, I got you.
So what was Springfield is a unique place. What was life like growing up in Springfield?
Unique is a nice way of putting it. Right with Springfield, Mass. You gotta love it. So I was born and raised in Springfield, Mass. I lived there until pretty much like when I got out of middle school. And from there, I went to go live with my dad in New Hampshire. So I went to high school in New Hampshire, and then after that, moved back to Springfield because that's where my mom and my brother were. So I spent another couple years there. And then eventually, actually, I moved out here because my wife was in the Navy, or is in the Navy. So she got stationed out here in San Diego. And so that's how I kind of came out over here. Okay. But I mean, Springfield, if you don't know, it's the home of basketball. It's where basketball was invented.
Yes,
so we got
the Hall
the
of
Basketball
Fame.
Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Simpsons.
I was going to ask that. I was like,
From
is
what
that
I was
the
told,
same
there's
place?
so many different Springfield, so I'm pretty sure it's not
is it?
from
No, okay.
Springfield.
No,
Mass.
no,
Yeah.
no. I was reaching on that
He's
one.
like-
Thanks for breaking the ice on that, Coach.
So Springfield, fun fact, last time I was out there, we were debating on crime because it's a very deceiving place. It's a very
crime?
crime.
Yeah,
Yes.
100%.
Yes, it's a very pretty place, and if you're not aware or from another place, you're not even aware that it is inherently as dangerous as it is.
Yeah.
But looking up the crime stats as of yesterday, on a scale of 1 to 100, 100% being 100% safe. So it's a percentage safety rating. Out of 1 to 100, Springfield is at a whopping 12%.
Nice.
There we go.
Nice.
Nice.
I think that's up from last year. No.
Okay, there
So
we
we're
go.
making progress.
Hey, they're getting better.
So 12% literally floored me because I'm like, should I even be outside right now? Like, so was it the same? Was it the same for you growing up? Was it still that dangerous?
I mean, it's hard to tell, because I grew up, that was my childhood, So it's just like, that's what you know. You grow up and that's the environment that you live in, and you don't really know any different until I moved to New Hampshire. And I realized so many people were super friendly and outgoing, and were like, "Oh yeah, our door's unlocked for our house," and that was
That's
crazy.
weird for you.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
weird.
That's 100% weird. And like oftentimes, like there's so many times like growing up when I was at a friend's house or anywhere else, like whenever we left the house or anything like that, a lot of times we would leave the TV on.
Just to make
people think, someone's in there. You can't
That
go.
might be a black people
They're
thing.
home.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But like just to give you kind of like a background on Springfield, right?
Yeah.
For a long period of time, where we had lived is this place called Byers Street, and right near it is like my childhood neighborhood of Spring Street.
Okay.
Right across the street is a police station, like the headquarters of the police station.
Okay.
You can make a 911 call and you won't see cops until about 45 minutes.
There you go.
So you can just walk over. You're better off walking over to the station and be like,
somebody-
hey, this guy's trying to
Somebody
kill
just
me.
come outside because I
yeah.
just got stabbed.
Yeah.
Carry your riddled body to the police station.
Pretty much. I remember growing up, like these I was like getting bullied on like the basketball court around the neighborhood. And I was like, my mom had a good friend that was a cop.
Okay.
And so he had thankfully came by. I mean, thankfully for the other kids, but I was like walking up the street and they just kept bullying me or like trying to like get my bike and were just throwing rocks at me. And I had enough of it. So I threw my bike down. I started fighting all three of them. Next thing you know, a cop pulls up and it's the same guy. Officer Wilson actually had my last name too, so which is like pretty cool.
Wow.
Rest in peace because he passed away a few years back.
Rest
now,
in peace to Officer Wilson.
yeah,
Thank you for your
rest in
service.
peace. Sure.
But yeah, so like it's crazy to think that you could be in a full-blown fight and do whatever, and no one's got to really stop unless it's their actual job and unless it's a cop that's coming from the station right across the street.
Yeah, and sometimes the cops won't stop.
Yeah.
That we've dealt with that too. If the neighborhood's bad enough, they're not coming, like you said, for like 45 minutes. We'll give them time to go ahead and end whatever they've got going on, and
Let it
we'll
burn
go
out
clean it
on
up. Yeah, we'll go and clean it up afterwards. the ambulances and stuff won't even enter some areas unless they have police escorts. So it's kind of crazy. So okay, so growing up, any brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I have an older brother, and then kind of like an extended family friend that also serves as another older brother. So essentially, I was a younger brother too.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So what's the difference between you and your older brother?
A lot. So we just, genre speaking, completely different people. But,
I mean age difference wise. I'm sorry.
Oh, like like 9 years.
Like 9 years.
Gap.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
And it's just the two of you?
Yep. Just two of us and my
friend.
mom.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all right. So didn't really have older brother as an influence growing up.
Yes and no. He's more of a kind of like shut in, kind of like did his own thing inside the house, and I was more of like going outside and hanging out with like friends my age. And to be fair, it wasn't like a lot of people around the neighborhood his age, so a lot of his group was from school or from work or whatever. And then eventually, as we grew older, he joined the Marines and then came out and went out and did his own thing too. So
why were you outside? I mean, why did you choose to be outside?
Because I was just trying to do hit red shit with my friends. No, no, that was just who I am. I was just out playing basketball, football, whatever. Manhunt, that was a big game.
Manhunt?
Yeah, Manhunt, you know.
No, what is that? What is
Eventually,
Manhunt? Is that like...
Manhunt?
No,
nothing? Nothing?
Oh, you have to break that one down.
It's a Springfield only thing, apparently, I guess.
Okay.
It's
They got their
essentially,
own games.
I mean, it's essentially just tag, right? It's just like two teams of tag, and you're just running around the neighborhood
It's
trying
like
to...
an enhanced tag.
Almost, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like sniper tag.
I thought it was that iced tea. Wait a minute.
No. But, so yeah, just constantly going out, doing stuff, hanging out with friends. So that was just my childhood. And
So
then
sports or anything
growing
at that time?
growing up, not really. I didn't really get into sports or any type of like team setting type sports or anything like that until about high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you said that it was good for them that the police officers showed up. You mentioned you just dropped your bike and decided to fight three people.
Yeah, I just started
So
fighting.
is that always been your mentality growing up? Have you always been a fighter inside?
Like looking back, I would say yeah, for sure. Like I was talking with Jake actually about this. Like I don't know. I think it might have been when I was cutting weight for my last fight, where I was like, "What was your like earliest memory?" Because like one of my earliest memories is laying on the couch with my dad watching Bruce Lee movies.
Okay.
So like just combat and sports that's always kind of just been there in the like background in my mind, especially growing up. You know, always loved action films, always loved martial art films like that. And so, yeah, that particular time I was just like, okay, I'm tired of this. I've had enough. And I just dropped the bike and just started swinging because I was like, this is not happening.
Any fight training at that point, or were you just kind of like a street brawler at that point, or just that day you were like, I've had enough?
It must have just been like that day because I didn't have any type of background or anything like that. Again, I didn't even start training like that until like my adulthood.
Okay.
Really.
Okay.
But yeah, just as a kid, I was just like, yeah, no, I'm not putting up with this shit. I'm not the one to put up with that. I'm very much someone that's like, hey, like if I see something going wrong or someone's like causing issues with someone else, I'm stepping in.
Okay.
So.
Okay. I like
Was that your first fight, Bill?
Officially,
That's
yeah,
your
that was my
official
first fight.
It's a
yeah.
biggie.
against three.
That's a biggie.
That's the heart of a lion right there, right?
exactly
He's
right.
stepping into the fire.
Not bad.
So did your father have any combat training or anything? Was he just a big martial arts aficionado as well?
Yeah, so my dad actually did a lot of like point-based karate type stuff.
Okay.
I forgot the official like branch name of it because there are so many different kind of like branch names for as far as like karate styles go and different things go. But he used to do that a lot and actually went on to kind of help instruct and do other things. But even at that time, like I wasn't big into it.
Okay.
I remember it was like my final year of high school, I believe, where I had gone by his dojo and they're finally doing like a Muay Thai class, and that was like my first official class. And as soon as I hopped in, like I remember loving it, and I remember the instructor talking to my dad. He's like, "Has he done anything before?" And my dad's like, "No." He's like, "Oh well, he's taken to it." And if I had followed that back then and kept going with it, but yeah.
But timing is everything, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Timing is everything. So parents still together?
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah, they've been apart for a while, but yeah, that was the main reason.
That's when
kind
you
of
moved to New Hampshire.
New Hampshire, yeah,
Okay.
just because my mom was like, "Oh yeah, Springfield's not the best, especially
12%?
especially as you start, especially as you start transitioning to like high school."
Oh, yeah.
She's like, "I don't want you going
That's really
into like
gonna
the
be crazy.
going with the wrong crowds or anything like that." So, and she's like, "And the education system here is not the best either. So I'd rather you go know what it's like to live with your dad, spend time with your dad, get a better education, be in a better environment type thing. So, which, you know, props to her because she had that foresight to be like, hey, like, I want what's best for you right now. And
so mom kind of put her own feelings aside to put you in a better position get you out of here. Go to New Hampshire. I don't even think I know anyone from New Hampshire. So
shout out, Mom.
Thank you for being the first person from New Hampshire. And shout out to moms to having the foresight to put your son in a position to excel the way he is now. So New Hampshire, talk to me about New Hampshire. What does that even look like? Like,
does it even exist? Is it a real state?
Yeah. I didn't think Vermont was real. I just recently, it was one of those states. But I ended up in Vermont in the strangest story.
Well, New Hampshire is definitely the live free or die state.
Okay.
Tons of freedom out there. Think of like an eyeball and then the iris of an eyeball. The iris is black. That's me. And the rest of the state is the rest of the eyeball. So I was like the only like black guy that I knew really in all of New Hampshire.
Now, are you of mixed origin?
Yeah, so my mom's Puerto Rican and my dad's black.
Okay,
yeah.
okay. So you were still considered.
But as far as being out there, I'm considered black.
Yeah.
Right. If I'm not considered black, I'm considered Mexican.
Got it.
I deal with a lot of similar. Bill.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we're of kind of very similar.
Oh yeah. And it's so
mix.
funny too, like being out here too, like and then seeing like I can like point out people and be like, oh, they're definitely like Puerto Rican or Dominican.
100%.
Yeah.
Like that's so. My father, my mother's Puerto Rican, and then my father's a black Dominican man, and the identification. When I came to the West, it was tricky because I was, everything. I was Arab. I was, half black, half white. A whole bunch of stuff. But
and that's always so funny too, because like you'll go on the East Coast and it's just like you call us a Puerto Rican Dominican, and they're like, "Yo, what the fuck?"
Don't play.
And then vice versa.
Let me correct you. Exactly. It's saying like an Asian culture. My respect for culture in general is identifying people properly, especially when we're talking about culture, right? Sure. Like you're not going to see a Chinese guy and be like, "Hey, so how is it in Japan?" Like that type, you know what I mean? Like that type of thing. So, but I understand completely where you're coming from, man. That's interesting, man.
So the dynamic then, I've from San Diego, but I've predominantly. Because for the same reasons, most of my family is from like Southeast San Diego, and mom's was like, "No, we're gonna go move to Poway, and you're gonna go to school out there," which was
shit. That's where I grew up.
I live there now. I love Poway. Yeah. So it's the shell shock originally back then. In I'm not gonna mention the years. They always try to get me, but back then it was bad. There was only like 12 black families in the entire city of Poway, and 10 of them played for the Padres. So
Tony Gwynn was out there.
Gary Templeton Jr. is one of my is one of my childhood friends, and so is Tony Gwynn. Tony Gwynn Jr. is a little bit younger than us, but me and Gary Templeton Jr. went to school together, and spent numerous days at his house, fishing in his private lake and all kinds of stuff. Shout out to Gary Templeton. What's up? Okay, so what was it like in New Hampshire? Just obviously shell shock for you, but shell shock for them too, I imagine.
Yeah, for sure. Big culture shock, just in terms of kind of everything, the people, the environment. I would say like my time there was mostly positive, like 99% positive, right? Had a few run-ins,
of course,
as far as like racial concerns go, for sure. Like I remember one time I was like just going for a run. I remember just someone like yelling N-word at me and stuff like that, just going by. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna catch your car. And I'm just still using that as motivation, just trying to run now out of that car.
You ran him down?
No. I wasn't that fast. Maybe today. Back then, maybe not.
You got to be careful jogging out here right now. Ahmaud Arbery, jogging out here black can get you killed. So luckily you came out on the better end of that. And it didn't escalate into something more serious.
Yeah, but no, for the most part, it's pretty positive. I've met like lifelong friends I have even now to this day from high school. Met my wife in my high school. So yeah, I would say pretty much all positive. Yeah.
So you went from New Hampshire. You played. That's where you went to high school.
Yeah. So that's when I went to high school. I played football. I did like 2 weeks of lacrosse, so I officially identify as a lax pro.
Nice.
I did some track, and that's about it.
Okay. Now
my biggest kind of regret from doing sports or lack of doing sports in high school was never doing wrestling. Because you know how beneficial it could have been to you now. Well, my wrestling coach for years and years and years. Shout out to Hammer, Coach Hammer. His name's Hammer Manel. So
his actual name is Hammer?
His actual name is
dope.
Hammer. Yeah.
And then he's a wrestling coach. He was just built for that.
Yeah. Well, cauliflower's out the ear. I remember his claim to fame was he was like a point away from beating Kurt Angle to get and qualify for the Olympics.
Okay. That's his Al Bundy story. He's like 1 point.
Yeah.
What separated me from Kurt Angle. It would have been me.
But I recently visited New Hampshire a couple months ago now, after my fight, because I went out there for my dad. And so I stopped by to catch a football game, because he also coached some of the football team as well. So I went down there, just feeling nostalgic, and talked to him, chatting him up. It's like, hey, I regret not doing wrestling. I have so much respect for it, and I just want to say a shout out to you and thank you for all the great coaching tips you've given me over when I was in high school, and a lot of it I still take into today and kind of apply it to myself and to teammates whenever I can. So
that's cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Shout out to Coach Hammer.
Coach Hammer, shouts.
So you did play football though. What position did you play in football?
I played running back, tight end, wide receiver, defensive end, outside linebacker, and middle linebacker. So I was kind of on the higher end as a freshman of height and size and everything like that, and then as everyone started evening out, it's time to change.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I was playing outside tackle, but now I'm gonna go ahead and play tailback. I can't. Yeah. So I guess that's one of the benefits of being one of the more tanned students.
I wanted to say it. I don't think I was allowed to.
This is an open show, Jake. You are allowed to say whatever you want.
That is right.
That is right. The top 1% of that class, I'm sure.
But football is definitely my first love for sure. My pretty much tied for my number one favorite sport. Along with mixed martial arts.
You played football all 4 years?
Yeah, all 4 years I played football, and then I played a little bit in college, but I ended up getting hurt, and then I'm not going to that or continuing with that school. So that's where kind of the football aspect died, but as far as me playing. And then once I had moved out here, I started dabbling in coaching youth football, youth flag football, and then that's when I kind of developed the coaching bug. So I always say everyone, if I wasn't doing mixed martial arts, I wasn't training all night or anything like that, I'd be coaching football.
Awesome.
That's dope.
Okay, so I didn't know you had such an extensive career in football. So you said you went ahead and went to the collegiate level as well?
I was training for it and kind of in camp for it with them. And then I ended up getting hurt and then ended up just not
what
going
happened
to that school. Just my ankle just got fucked up, and after that I was just I kind of lost it for sure. And then
So you met you said you met your wife, and is that when she had decided to enter the military?
No,
right
so
around that time?
I met my wife in high school. She was a grade behind me, and we dated my senior year. I knew her prior to that, but we started dating my senior year. Then we continued dating after I graduated high school, and then left high school, and then we kind of went apart, did our separate things, and then came back together. And at that point, she was going through the process of enlisting in the Navy, and she ended up joining the Navy and has been stationed here in California ever since. So
that's tight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what got you out here to San Diego.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is your initial push was the wife coming out, which is, that's again the move. Going from Springfield to New Hampshire, shell shock. New Hampshire to San Diego, super shell shock.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Talk to me about that. Just having to move all the way across the damn United States.
Yeah. That was a journey in and of itself. She already had most of her stuff out here, so then we had grabbed the dog we had adopted. It was a 60-year-old German Shepherd who didn't like me yet. Stole away in the back of my sedan, rest of my shit inside my garage, or not my garage, my trunk rather, sorry. And then the rest of my stuff kind of peppered in the bottom of my floor of my sedan. And then she came out, flew out, and then we drove across the country. It took us about, I would say, 3 days to go from New Hampshire all the way to California. From
That's a good
there,
drive.
Yeah.
You guys did that well.
Yeah. Not too bad. I've done that drive a couple times now. But
Yeah, it usually takes me 5 days. I stop a lot.
Yeah,
that's a good run.
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
So,
sorry, I'm gonna be on flight.
I don't blame you. Yeah, for sure.
I can deal with Spirit for 2.5 hours. You know what I'm saying?
I know, a broken neck and everything afterwards. But yeah, so once we got out here, stayed in a hotel for 2 weeks until I got housing and started living on base. And I'm a big foodie at heart. I'm always going to be a fat kid.
Nice.
So I was new to California. I was like, oh my God, everything looks so good. And then we had everything. Food's so different, culturally compared to so many different places, especially
Southern California food is not the same as everybody else's. We have a different standard of Mexican food. We have a different standard of Chinese food.
Which I will say that East Coast Chinese food's better.
I'll give you the Chinese food.
New York City specifically. Bill, I want to ask you a question. For me, coming from New York City to San Diego, I wasn't very familiar with Mexican culture. I wasn't familiar with Mexican food. The first time I ever had a burrito was when I landed here.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? How was your kind of familiarity with Mexican culture? Was that something that was in mass when you were there?
No, not really. Yeah, same thing. I mean, if you wanted food, it was going to be rice and beans.
Okay,
yeah,
that's what's up. Yeah, exactly.
It's gonna be from like a Puerto Rican bakery or a cafe or something like that. Yeah, 100%. But it's funny too. That reminds me, my mom's she's from Puerto Rico, but when she finally came to like stateside, she lived in New York. And so she's a New Yorker at heart.
Oh, 100%.
Meanwhile, my stepdad is a diehard Boston fan, like Sox fan, and then my mom is a diehard Yankees fan.
Okay, so did you see? I was very quietly kind of. I was just ancient. I wasn't. I was just trying to get a feel.
I just want to put that out there.
You have belts. I don't. Okay. But I was leaning there. I was trying to see if people were going to be like, hey, like Boston, right? Sox fan, this and that. I mean, as you know, I'm born and raised in the Bronx. So, the Yankees, Boston thing.
Yeah, 100%. And it's so funny, too. Like, I'll go home and visit or whatever, and then, like, they're constantly playing for each other. Like, one day there'll be something Red Sox signed up, and then next day that's taken down. There's a Yankees thing.
There we go.
Just
that's it.
All the time. It's not up with us, too.
I love it.
For sure. Like, the one sports team that they will agree on are the Patriots, and that's it.
Okay.
But
yeah.
Other than that, it's a diehard between Sox and Yankees, for sure.
It's a track, for sure, man. That's dope.
And, but, I mean, we used to go to New York all the time, too. So, like, longest time my mom would, she had, like, her own little flea market stand at a local flea market. So she'd go down to New York all the time, get stuff wholesale. Just buy all the wholesale stuff, bring it back to the flea market, 100%. Start selling it, turn it a little penny. But
the hustle's real in New York City.
Oh yeah, everyone's hustling.
Where was in New York City? Where was Mom at? Do you know exactly?
I cannot remember.
No, that's okay. Yeah, but no, it's all. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The hustle, the resale hustle's real in New York City.
Oh yeah, I remember. Like we go down and be like myself and like my two cousins, and we just play a favorite game, just like people watching. We'll just sit down like. Just watching everyone going by, trying to make up a story, trying to play little games like that while my mom's just out here like
that's right,
just making deals, trying to get things on cheap. Man. So
my grandmother used to sell pasteles. I don't know if okay, you see what I'm saying? You heard that?
Yeah.
My grandmother would make pasteles. Okay, she had a small little old school like little ice cream cart.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, she'd load it up with pasteles, and we would either hit my block or we would hit the beach. We would hit Orchard Beach. And same thing. While she was selling pasteles for like $1 or $2 a piece, I'd be sitting there just, trying to get through time. You know what I'm saying? Hundreds of people walking by, chatting with some of the locals, whatever the case is. Son, very, similar.
Well, 100%. It's so funny too. Like so my wife was stationed at ACU 5, so that's over by Camp Pendleton, and now she's stationed on a brand new ship that's being built.
Wow, she's stationed on a ship.
Yeah.
So the whole I'm going to take away from you too quick, but just the whole dynamic with most times when you picture a military family, it's the woman who's having to deal with the man moving and
there's leaving. So many times like just like earlier, right, or people automatically assume
that
like
you are exactly, and you've had to do all the moving and adjusting, and so go ahead, please continue with your story. Now she's
so she's gonna be on the ship, and one of her junior sailors is Puerto Rican, and so she got the little homie hookup, and she made us some big ass thing of coquito that was gone in like a day, and then a bunch of pasteles, and then
listen, shout out to my man Hector. Him and his family. Usually every Christmas year they give me the big bottle of coquito, and
so good. Right? So if you guys don't know, coquito is basically Puerto Rican eggnog.
That is right. Yeah, that is right. With a kind of a cinnamon nutmeg feel to it,
and coconut too.
Creamy,
I love
and
eggnog.
delicious.
That sounds delicious. Yeah,
and listen,
I need a bottle of coquito.
You can lose track.
Yeah.
It can happen.
Yeah.
You could definitely lose track. It's that good.
Oh, is it spicy? Does it have a little
No.
kick?
No,
creamy?
Yeah. So usually, depending on who you get from, it can. But usually, it's
Puerto Rican
That's what I
gotta
meant by
have some rum in
spicy, a
it.
little
Yeah,
alcohol.
it's got- yeah,
Some
usually
rum
it's
in it.
rum inside.
Oh yeah. For sure.
It's Puerto Rican. It gotta have some rum in it.
Exactly. And if you're gonna, exactly, you're gonna definitely, depending on the
Get
wrist,
adult real quick.
Yeah.
whoever
Got
the
it.
wrist manager is for the rum, absolutely, levels can definitely intensify.
So how does that, with her being stationed on a ship, she has to leave, I imagine, to go out on maneuvers and
So she
build
hasn't
up some things?
Yeah, so she hasn't been on a ship yet.
Okay.
So this is gonna be her first time on a ship.
Okay.
But essentially, it's a ship that's being built. It's gonna be first in
So no
class.
deployments.
No, she's been on deployments in the past, but nothing with the ship or anything like that.
How does that, do you guys have children?
Yes. So we've got 2-year-old, or really 2.5. No, more than that, because you're gonna
You
be
better
3.
get that right. Get that
they're
right.
gonna be 3 in February.
Okay.
So
All right.
we have
Twins.
Twins, yes, and then
Okay.
1-year-old. So we got 3 boys, 3 crazy ass gremlins, as we like to call them.
Nice.
But
Don't get them wet.
Yeah.
Don't
yeah.
feed them after midnight.
No. But so full family.
Now,
busy schedule.
does that make you? Are you nervous about having to hold down the house when she's on deployment?
So luckily,
do you
my
handle that?
mother-in-law actually had moved out prior to us having kids. So
Okay.
she had moved out to kind of stay with us, because we had a property in Ohio, and then we sold that property because she had handled it for us and built it up. So we sold that property, turned some money on it, and then she came out here because she missed her daughter.
Of course, and
So-
grandkids always.
Well, and at that time with the grandkids,
yeah, no
weren't
kids.
even
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
they weren't even in the picture or anything like that. But so they asked me, my wife asked me hey, how'd you feel my mom came out here and lived with us, stayed with us? I'm like, I don't care, I love your mom, bring it. I love her cooking, I love everything. Come on, it's good.
This is a win.
Yeah.
This is a win-win.
So
Right.
so thankfully she's around. So when myself I'm at work or my wife's at work, then she's got the home life and she's take care of the kids.
That's
So
awesome.
It's
cool.
definitely
Shout out to moms.
Yes, 100%. But it definitely goes to that idea of you need a solid support team for
a
everything.
village,
and,
right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
man.
100%.
I so
And not
agree.
just fighting in general, just family life. You need
Yeah.
everything being covered.
The care system
Yeah.
is usually covered a lot better when you have that support system.
Yeah.
My mom is a huge part of my life, man. Grandma, whether my my kids call her grandma, abuela, whatever it is, it's a big part, and having them matters for sure, man. Definitely takes that support, man. So that's big shout out to mom.
I'm sure the
for
kids
sure.
love it too. Grandmas are notorious. You gotta, they're like,
Well, recent history, we didn't have the whole family unit together. As tribes, we had our family together. We took care of our elderly, but for some reason it's been detached.
we've lost that.
Slough them off to an old folks home and okay, well, I got to work. We're going to send the kids off to some strangers and pay them to do it. It's backwards, I think.
That's
Yeah.
weird.
No,
Very
I
envious of what you
completely
got going
agree.
on.
Completely agree. I couldn't imagine, even if I couldn't. My idea, and me and my wife had talked about it. If it ever came down to that, having to take care of our parents, we would build a little casita on the back property, give them their own
100%.
space so they can do their thing and feel independent. But hey, we're right here. We can run into the backyard 100%. You still sit down for dinner and do what you need to do.
Yeah.
Nobody, I wouldn't put my freaking dog down in a vet. I'm not going to do it to my mom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or
That's
my
right.
parents. It's not going to happen.
right.
We have lost a lot of that respect in I would say more American society,
Yeah,
because
100%.
a lot of the Asian
Go overseas, it's not that way.
it's not like
That's
that
right.
at all. And you see that here. A lot of the Asian families here, and people like to make fun of them, but it's they're saving money. They're doing it the right way.
Yeah.
They've got everybody chipping in.
Good family
toward-
unit.
Yeah, got
It's a
everybody chipping in
unified
towards
front. There's going to be
unified.
more success internally that way.
And you've got you've got the influences and the generations in the house for the kids to be able to relate to, And I think that having grandkids extends the elders' time, gives them things to
them
be
purpose.
purpose,
Yeah.
things
I
to
would
be
agree.
involved in.
I would agree.
So that's a quality of life thing for them as well. That's awesome. Shout out to you guys for that. Yeah. So you said you work. What do you do for a living?
So right now I work at Camp Belton. I work as a human performance coach. So
Wow.
essentially I help people kind of lose weight.
Okay.
I do perform different body assessments, consult with nutrition, that type of thing. So I've being on the kind of higher end and extreme end as weight goes, because kind of skipping going back to kind of my origin story, right?
Yeah.
It's like when I first came out to California, downtown Oceanside, I'm going to, I think we were just coming back from, you guys remember Ruby's?
Yeah, on the pier.
On the pier.
Yeah.
So it was myself,
Goddamn COVID.
Yeah. It was myself, my wife, and my brother-in-law, and we're all walking back from Ruby's. And there used to be a 4-way stop sign intersection.
Yeah.
By where Jersey Mike's is. We're walking, and we're about to cross the street, and there's a car coming. So say if we're going this way, right? The car comes this way. We wait for it to pass. Okay, cool. Now we're walking. The car on the far end didn't see that car pass. And so they come scooping by, and they don't see us. And they only see us once they've already hit us. So
what?
Yeah, so I ended up hitting my wife first. She ended up getting road rash down her leg.
Oh, my God.
I ended up hitting the driver's side, ended up putting like a dent in the hood and on the side. And then I fall down. And then
this guy's moving at a pretty damn fast rate of speed for a 4-way stop.
What? And then my brother-in-law ends up getting hit and going up on the roof, or not the roof, but the ceiling. The
windshield?
The hood, sorry, okay. Yes. Going up on the hood and then falling down, and thankfully she had stopped. And she didn't keep driving or anything.
Yeah, because she would have ran right over him.
Yeah.
Well, after you hit 3 people, I hope you stopped.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. So it was crazy. So that ended up, ambulance came, picked up my brother-in-law, my wife went with him, and then I was like, it's cool, go, I'll meet you guys there. I know what hospital you're going to, I'll go there. So I start jogging to the parking garage.
Wait a minute, Bill. Hold on a second, Bill. Just a sec.
All right.
The ambulance comes.
Yeah.
Takes your brother, takes wife.
Yeah.
Okay. You were hit.
Yeah.
You put a dent. I think in the story you said there was a dent in the hood. You're jogging?
I'm jogging. I'm jogging to the parking garage.
Okay.
Get to the car. I'm starting to drive over to Tri-City Hospital, and I'm on the 78, and I start feeling my leg. I'm like, that doesn't feel good.
Sure.
At this point, the adrenaline's starting to wear off. I'm like hitting my leg. I'm like, come on, nope, you're good. And I finally get there, and I'm sitting in the hospital finally with my wife. 10 minutes have passed, and she's like, are you sure you don't want to get checked out? And I'm like, no, I should probably get checked out.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting ended up being a pretty severe knee sprain and some other stuff. So there are no ACL tears or anything like that.
Oh man, thank God.
But
bionic man, you just got hit by a car. Huh?
Yeah, and so that pretty much just took my leg out of commission for a while, and then again going back to the fat kid at heart. Big foodie, new to California, so I was still eating everything at that time. So I ended up blowing up to my heaviest. That's 245 pounds.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait. 245 pounds.
Yeah.
How tall are you?
I am 5'9".
5'9". Okay.
So
it was the bad 245
I'm
pounds, not the good. Yeah.
And I've never been over 210 pounds. And my mom told me every time she saw me, you're getting fat. You know what I mean? And I thought I was on swole. Mom was like, no, you're getting fat. I was like, okay. So 245, that's,
okay.
I wouldn't look at you and think that you were ever 245 pounds at any point in your life.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think there's only I can always scan and find one picture on Facebook on my wife's page where it's an old picture of us kissing in Ohio or whatever, visiting family, and you could see everything in the face was just huge and ballooned up, and
sure,
yeah. So that's the heaviest I've ever been. So after that, I kind of started getting back into fitness slowly as I got better, and then from there, I ended up joining a UFC gym, one of those franchise UFC gyms.
Yeah.
For the most part, they're really just turnstiles.
Why the UFC gym though? Why not 24-hour fitness?
Just because. It was something different. I had a brief run-in for MMA as far as classes go back in Massachusetts. So that's when I got my first taste of it. So prior to
the Muay Thai that you were talking about?
It was a actual MMA gym. So it's Fighting Arts Academy.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if you guys know of Nick Newell. So he is a one-arm professional mixed martial artist. So he fought.
Wow. I think I've seen some of his videos.
World Series of Fighting. For the longest time, he was undefeated, and then the only person he ended up losing to eventually was Justin Gaethje.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a record.
And to do that with,
I'll take that one.
To do that with one arm.
One arm? Yeah.
Wow. I beat you with one arm tied behind my back.
Oh.
So yeah,
it wasn't tied, but I still had one arm.
He did that. He fought. I think he might have fought in Bellator once or twice. He might be in Bellator right now. I can't remember. But he also fought on Dana White's Contender Series.
Oh.
So I
accomplished.
Saw him fight. Yeah,
accomplished
for sure.
Why did you?
I saw him fight. He was in the gym. I didn't even know who he was or anything like that. But I saw him fighting and training and sparring. I was like, this dude's badass. Like, this is what I want to do. I enjoy doing this. And then shortly after, I ended up moving. So,
and what initially took you into the gym in Massachusetts though? Did you know anybody that was training?
No, I was just looking around. I was just looking for something different.
Bored?
Yeah.
It was like, hey, I'm gonna go get into something.
Yeah, for sure. And then I saw it and I liked it, and I ended up moving, so I ended up not doing it. But I still follow that gym and like seeing all their success. I actually tried having them link up with Coach Chuck, because I know Coach Chuck moved out to the East Coast and was doing kind of like amateur league over there. So I was like, hey, hit up this gym. They always put out like quality fighters in their reputable gym. So for sure.
Cool. Well, shout out to them. Hope we see you guys on the scene soon.
Yeah. So, I moved out here. All that happened. I joined this UFC franchise gym, and I eventually kind of meet like the core group of who's Coastal Combat now.
Okay.
Eventually being Coach Jake, one of them.
All right.
Yeah. Right, and then Coach Jordan came through, and then eventually had left UFC gym and then went to go do Coastal Combat. And yeah, we've been taking off ever since then. So
now, Jake, what is your past? I know that you are you co-own with Jordan Herring. You co-own Coastal Combat, which is one of the bigger powerhouse gyms now, making a name for itself out of the North County. You guys were there. I know. I spoke with Jordan, and I think we had briefly said something about you guys having like mid-90s in the percentage for your win rates right now for your fight team.
Yeah, we've been very successful in the amateur circuit, especially locally with Epic, and we've done like Tough Enough with some of our fighters. We've done really well, and it's just the culture that we've created. Like I go in when I coach, I'm there 5-6 days a week. I'm always training, so I think that's the main catalyst which gets people going. There's a lot of coaches that kind of sit on the sidelines and like they don't practice what they preach, and everyone from me, Jordan, to Josh Kim, we walk the walk, so we're telling you to do something, we're telling you to stay in shape, we're doing it ourselves. So I think that's one of the main reasons we're kind of in that 90 percentile that you're referring to.
Now, what is your past as far as the martial arts and things go? Have you competed?
Yeah, I've competed in Muay Thai and MMA. I've done jiu-jitsu and judo. To keep it brief, I didn't do any athletics in school or anything like that. I was like a skate rat. I grew up in Poway, where you live now.
Yeah, shout out to Poway.
It's a pretty affluent area, but like everyone there is always trying to fight and scrap. Somehow, I wasn't able to get involved in any of those fights because I had an older brother, and everyone was scared of my older brother.
Nice, that always helps,
including myself. So I got pretty wrung out as a kid, getting beat up by my brother who's 3 years older than me. So it's like there's always that discrepancy of like size. 3 years, like at that time, is
significant.
Yeah, pretty significant.
A senior and freshman.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm getting beat up.
Yeah. And there's a little bit more than like your average brotherly, like rough housing. Like we had to like go and see people for it, like get counseling and shit.
Okay,
I got like beat.
We had to get third parties involved.
Closed fist punched.
Okay. It happens. I've known more than a few brothers who are. I was just talking to a good friend who said that he was out of town and his wife's brothers got into a physical altercation over not starting the chicken on the grill.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
There you go.
Mine was even like more egregious than that. It'd just be like, dude, you're home right now. So it's like,
are you breathing?
You're gonna,
right.
You're
breathing right now.
Yeah, you're gonna get it. But
especially asking you not to. Like,
Now, did that go both ways? Were you the antagonist?
Never. I mean, it definitely didn't go both ways in terms of like the win to loss ratio. I'm 0 and whatever.
Okay, so I'm still 0.
Yeah. Well, no, I got it back. I got it back as an adult.
Okay.
Right? I stepped out of line. But. I didn't do any athletics as a kid. I just skated, and when I was 19 years old, I was watching UFC at my house. I had moved out. I had my
Do you
own
recall
little
which one you were watching?
Yeah, I do. So I would always watch it. I was always into it. I watched like the Ultimate Fighter season was my senior year in high school, like 05. So I remember like watching that. I was like, helped like perpetuate my fandom for it because I remember watching Pride as a kid with my dad, but then I reignited when I started watching the Ultimate Fighter, and then I saw the Anderson Silva Chris Lieben fight. And shout out to Chris Lieben. I know he's
shouts Chris,
legend.
Right. The training center.
That fight was super tough for him, and I just remember seeing Anderson, getting him in full clinch, kneeing him, and then Joe Rogan is like, "That's Muay Thai. That's Muay Thai." I'm like, That's what I want to do.
There we go.
I was like, dude, just grab someone's head and knee them. I don't have to like stand and like punch. I was like, dude, that seems like the way to go. So that night, I look up a Muay Thai gym near me, and sure enough, there's a gym on the other side of the apartment complex in Poway.
Wow.
That did Muay Thai. So I signed up. A representative called me the next day. I showed up to practice that night. And
this is within the span of 48 hours?
Yeah. So this was in 2006, and unbeknownst to me, I walked into like the best gym, even to this day. Like the Kim brothers all came from there. Like they started like 5 years after me. Jordan. We had some really talented guys. The instructors were a pair of brothers that had black belts in multiple arts, were world traveled, had gone to Russia and Thailand and Japan and trained under all these masters.
Seasoned.
Yeah, very good, very young and unassuming guys.
Okay.
When I started training, my instructor was my age. He was 35. So like
okay.
fairly young guys, which was, I guess, like less common back then. You'd always have like someone who owned a gym was like much older and more seasoned experience. Yeah. And I sucked. I couldn't jump rope. I couldn't touch my toes. I couldn't do anything. I thought I was Billy Badass. I'm a 14-year-old kid with braces with no muscle mass. Just put it down on me like the first or second day.
Nice.
And I was like, all right.
Braces and no muscle.
Yeah.
There we go.
So I was like, all right, well, this is what I'm going to do from now on. And I just showed up every day and not athletic at all. So I had to really learn the technique of things, which I think is played into my coaching style. Okay. It's very like specific and direct.
Start from scratch.
Yeah.
That's
like
right.
I couldn't, like when I hear people like, just feel it. I'm like, dude, I didn't feel anything. I was like so blocky and choppy. So I had to like be
like trying to learn another language.
Yeah, to be really analytical with my approach. And by come 2008, I had an opportunity to go to Thailand and fight. Wow. So I did that. I won my fight, came back. And
so your first fight was overseas?
First fight was in Thailand.
Wow. The Mecca.
No shin guards,
the
no pads, nothing.
No shin guards, no pads.
Just kind of traditional Muay Thai fight out there?
We had gloves. But,
he gave us gloves.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But like now you see like everyone's got the shin guards and like, like they have like headgear and stuff like in kickboxing.
You were doing the traditional.
Yeah. There's a caveat to that. I did fight like an older Thai guy who was like probably had been knocked a couple times. You know what I mean? But
I don't know if that helps or helps you or helps him.
Yeah. I mean, I just think he was a little weathered. You know what I mean? So I don't like try to like stand like, ooh, like I fucking beat up a Thai guy. You know what I mean? It's like. But it was a great experience, and from there I got another opportunity to go to Thailand and fight again. I trained judo under Jin Izumi and earned my black belt and went to Japan and trained at the Kodokan.
Wow. Impressive.
The house for judo. And then 2012, I had an opportunity to go to Brazil and live there for 3 months at Team Nogueira.
Okay.
Where I was told I was supposed to help be like a Muay Thai instructor and be like a translator for like the MMA to Muay Thai, because they're like an MMA school, and I had some like pretty decent Muay Thai at the time, and I was told I was gonna get paid. I was gonna have my own little apartment out there. It wasn't further from the truth. I like lived at the gym upstairs with like 13 other fighters.
There we go.
I didn't speak Portuguese. They all spoke Portuguese. Man. If you guys know,
fish out of water.
Yeah, you guys know who Henry Cejudo is.
Yes. 100%.
His coach, Eric Albahassin, his wrestling coach, the guy's always in all the videos and stuff.
That's right.
He was there with me.
Okay.
And so
that's cool.
So I started out like watching Anderson Silva fight, and then I'm there for about a month, and then one day Anderson walks in.
Oh man,
Anderson Silva walks in. I was like, no, fuck, no way, and I was trying not to be like starstruck and be like a fanboy, and then I'm there like holding pads, like that's like my job is to hold pads and work with guys. And I'm like standing there with my pads. He's like, hey, you want to hold pads for me? And he's got that high pitched voice.
I mean, if you got some time, I mean,
I was like, fuck,
do a little pad work.
I don't know, Anderson. This guy's ahead of you, so you're gonna have to wait. Like,
I'm like, you have to hold out, and
you might have to take a little seat, Andy.
That was the experience of a lifetime, and it gave me a whole different perspective on of levels, right? Like, because I had held for like guys who are fast, guys who are strong, but man, like
seeing the total package.
Man, with Anderson, it's his eyes. It's his like ability to see things. His ability to like adjust in the moment. Like it wasn't like that he's like he hit hard and he's fast, but he's not that fast and he's not that strong. Yeah. Like there are some beasts at that gym. But his like mental clarity which is like what I really like keyed in on when I was working with him. Like that's what I identified as like him being an outlier in the MMA community. Like his ability to notice things and adjust in real time. And so then like I think that has now like sat with me for many years. I'm now trying to extract like what I learned from those trips. Like I'm now just really starting to understand what I learned.
Pull back and take some of that stuff
back.
back.
From the pedigree that I earned from traveling the world and working with all these masters.
It sounds like you're very traveled. I mean, just if you're going to build a fighter resume, you've been to all the places that are significant as producing, great fighters.
Yeah, I still need to get to Dagestan. That's the next one, right?
Newly added.
Yeah.
Newly added.
So that's next on the list.
Okay.
If they'll take me at some point.
Gym group trip. Yep.
Yeah, gym trip.
I want to go.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's really my story. I in that time, I've had 5 Muay Thai fights. I only lost one of those, and then I've had 4 MMA fights. I went 2-2.
Okay.
My last fight is a big asterisk because I wasn't training with anyone, and I hadn't been at a gym for like 2 years. So I was like living at like my buddy's house, hitting a heavy bag, and not like training with anyone. Yeah. And I took a fight and just didn't go my way.
There we go.
Well, I mean, if you're not prepared for it, I think you kind of need
couch
that
and a heavy bag coach.
Yeah,
I mean, you know.
And then I had a fight actually lined up with Glory kickboxing, and then I had really extensive surgery. I had like part of my intestines removed. I had like this genetic defect. I woke up in pain one night and like didn't know what was going on, and like it got worse and worse to the point where I was like incapacitated with pain. And my girlfriend at the time had to take me to the emergency room. They immediately put me under, and I woke up in a hospital bed like
where's my
next
stomach?
day. Yeah, and, I had a bunch of a bunch of my guts removed, and then I kind of like reanalyzed like it's like I don't really want to fight. Like that wasn't really ever what I got into this for, but I love martial arts. So it took me a long time to really like decide that like what I'm going to do is be a coach. Like, 'cause I had coached before, like make ends meet, like personal training and like taught some classes, but now I'm like putting all my like chips into being like I am going to be a world renowned coach. Like I am going to be, you're going to see me like in the UFC cornering. Like it's a matter of time. I have the pedigree. I understand the sport, and I have some great athletes that I'm able to work with every day to like get myself better and then see how they progress. It's like mutually beneficial. Like I'm really like learning on the job, and I'm taking it to the next level.
So you run into Bill at the UFC gym, and were you just training for yourself at that point? Or?
No, I was teaching.
You were teaching.
So I was like, that was after my whole surgery. Before that, I was teaching at a kickboxing gym in Carlsbad. I had a split with them, and then I had our mutual friend Chris Herrera, who's a Bellator fighter and good friend of ours, had a lot of fights. He was teaching a class there, and he was moving to Texas, and he's like, I need someone to take these classes. So I was like, I'll start working at a UFC gym. Like, that sounds fun.
Sure.
So I started doing that. I met Bill and a bunch of the current core, well, some of them have moved on, but our core group, which created Coastal Combat, all came from like a UFC gym. Just guys that had not trained before that we just like, pulled into the fold and taught them our style. And then I left UFC gym for a job opportunity out in Palm Desert. And that's when I transferred my class over to Jordan Herring.
Okay.
Who then shortly thereafter had a fallout with the management at UFC gym, as many people do. And he reopened a gym that he had years before called Coastal Combat.
Okay.
He had a gym off in like a basement in Oceanside 10 years ago that we coined Coastal Combat, that saw a reemergence, got reborn.
Okay.
Rising from the ashes, the Phoenix story.
Little Phoenix.
Is now we got a little bit of space out in Oceanside that we coach guys out of. And
so talk to me about that rise. You guys you're not even in the States at this time, right? When he restarts, you said you took
No, I left. I was out of San Diego.
San Diego.
Yeah. So I left San Diego to live in the desert to do a job.
Palm Desert. Sorry.
Yeah, I ended up hating and moving back. And by the time I moved back, Jordan had kind of found a place for us all to train, and collected a few more guys to start training with us. And then I fit right in because Jordan and I come from the same lineage. Josh and John Kim were also teaching there at the moment, and I was
Twin Dragons.
Yeah, Twin Dragons. I was their first like instructor.
Oh,
when they came,
awesome!
Because like the higher students teach like the lower students. So I was a higher student when they came in. In very short order, they surpassed all of us. You know, they're like little ninjas, absolutely.
If you guys don't know who the Twin Dragons are, look them up on Instagram at Twin Dragons.
Yeah, so and from there we just started entering local MMA tournaments or competitions.
So okay, so let me just back up real quick.
Sure.
So you guys decide to start the gym, and then at that point, I mean, you guys are just training, or did you guys have the focus of saying, you know, we want to train fighters, like we specifically want to do fighters?
Yeah.
At that point, I think some of us were already competing.
Okay.
So like I remember at my first PKB when we were still at UFC gym, and what led up to that was I remember Jordan was cornering one of his friends from upstate. Oh, why can't I remember his name?
Chris, the other Chris?
No, it wasn't Chris. The one that's married to the actress.
Joe Lucicero.
Yes. He was cornering Joe for a WCK title, which is
the Muay Thai.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so he invited me up. He's like, hey, come check this out. Like, see how you like it and stuff like that. And so I go to this. It's my first Muay Thai event, like in live person or anything like that. So I go there and I'm like a kid at a candy shop. I'm like, yep, I want to do this.
I want to do this
like,
too.
I want to get down with this. And so after that, I started training for a PKB. I had like a couple PKBs, and then I had my first.
Just for the people, because they may or may not know what's a PKB.
It's a point-based kickboxing competition.
Shout out to the Hodges brothers.
Okay.
Putting that on. It's a huge resource.
Oh, yeah.
Amateurs.
So I did a few of those, and then after that, I had my first official Muay Thai fight, and then I had my first official MMA fight after that with Epic. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys are now moved into are you training Bill at this point? Or are you guys training together side by side, or?
We, I think you had your first MMA fight before I had come back to Coastal Combat.
Yes, I think it was probably around the second one. Yes,
Yeah,
it was the
second one is
because
when
Chris had left.
Yeah.
So my second fight, I was fighting Jordan Donay. Shout out to Jordan.
Shout out Big Nasty.
Yeah. It turned out to be a grappling match, and I was not a grappler. Didn't know how to wrestle or do anything like that.
Okay.
And so
that was your one loss as an amateur, 4-1 as an amateur. If you guys didn't know,
Jordan can claim that one easily. Shout out to Jordan. But so yeah, after that happened, Coach Chris was actually moving out to Texas, and then in short order, we also had Coach Jake here coming back, and then teammate Chase Escom.
Chase,
collegiate wrestler coming in a little bit later
Chase.
to help teach me how to wrestle and grapple, get my defense up. And
absolute beast.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, so I think that's around the time frame when you came in. Sure.
Yeah, and I've definitely had a very keen motivation to train these guys at the highest level and compete. You know, looking for an international level, not necessarily just the local level. So we got to work our way through this local level first. But yeah, my whole goal is to get guys in the UFC.
And I mean, what is how do you decide, like, I want to build a fight team? Like, what is the motivation behind that?
I think it comes naturally because we had attracted like-minded individuals. Everyone who left UFC to come with us, like, you got to think that you're leaving a gym with all the bells and whistles and like full open schedule to go to, you know, a mostly abandoned warehouse that, you know, only a few people are going to show up to, and we had limited hours because, you know, unfortunately right now we have to, like, all of us coaches are doing other things to support our lifestyles.
Of course, sure.
And, you know, the coaching is just, you know, it's pro bono right now.
It's the passion.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I'm investing my time into this because I know at some point I will be rewarded. My guys will be rewarded, and we will be, like, on the big stage in short order.
It's definitely a certain.
You guys are
it's like a certain, like, special feeling too, knowing like, hey, like, you're a part of something that you're trying to build. Like,
of course,
you're contributing to this, and then you're trying to make something special happen.
And so, how many fighters do you have right now?
So I have to count them out. We got Bill.
Let's name them off.
That's not a bad problem I have now.
We got Chase, Cody, Xavier, Trayvon, Kyle, Josh, John. I take part credit because they train all over the place, Josh and John, but they're coastal family, so they.
They definitely rep.
I would say so that'd be 8 for sure.
Yeah, we have 8, and then we have a couple waiting in the wings.
A couple waiting in the wings, and we have some people that cross train with. I know that you did an interview with Lauren Garcia.
Yes,
she does some cross train with us. She's going to start doing more striking with us. I was talking to her last night about it. So, the team keeps growing, and we're gonna do big things.
Coach, quick question. When when you guys are receiving talent, seeing talent, and making decisions on talent in the gym, is there ever a situation where you guys don't see that thing in a fighter and have to, like, you know, break the news, kind of like in right, like in football, right? You guys, they get the phone call, they got to go back. It's kind of, you know, dreadful. But are you ever encountered with that?
Yes and no. I have to tell, like, the beginners that want to come out to the sparring days, like, hey, you need some time to develop before you come and spar. And then when they spar, it's like, hey, this guy's just starting out, and so the same with the fighters. Like, I'm pulling back some of our fighters right now who just fought on the recent Epic card. I'm going to pull Cody back and have him develop his striking more, because he's 4-0 now.
Okay.
In MMA. Great fighter, great kid.
Awesome fighter.
Really good work ethic, but he has some holes that once you start fighting guys who have 5-6 fights,
they'll exploit.
So,
sure.
And he didn't protest at all. He's like, yeah, coach, I'm, with whatever you say. So in this thing, like, we probably could have petitioned to have him fight for a belt, 4-0.
I know there was talked about another one of your fighters abandoning his belt to give Cody the opportunity, Xavier, the Professor X.
Yeah, and so it's like, I haven't had to tell people, like, no, you can't fight. They all trust me, so I just give them other options. So it's like, if a guy really wants to fight MMA and hasn't yet, and I don't think he's ready yet, I'll say, you know what, instead of, like, jumping into that, let's get you into jiu-jitsu tournament. Let's see how you
Let's
work
keep you
there.
competing.
Okay.
Let's get you competing. Let's get those reps, and then you'll figure it out for yourself. I'm not at the point yet where I have any guys who are, like, getting so punchy or anything where I have to be like, hey, like, you need to retire. I'm not there yet because I'm a young coach as a young team. Sure. So right now it's more like, yes, take the opportunity. Well, instead of this opportunity, let's go over here, and here's why.
Let's redirect.
It's for a very purposeful reason to develop you, not to just throw, like, a bunch of cannon fodder out, a bunch of people out, and see, okay, like,
I train
who's going to make it? Who's going to make it through the
trying to go through the numbers.
Yeah, develop and foster talent, not, like, beat people down. This isn't like, you're not breaking a horse. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, you got to, like, build people up, and some people need to be built in a different way. Some people need, like, express challenges. Some guys need, like, a very soft, gentle, guiding hand, So it's like identifying those individuals in the gym and trying to direct my energy and their energy to the most, like, prosperous path.
Well, that's the insight that you would want from a coach, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not familiar with the coaching dynamic in a fight as far as fighters go. I've always said that that's a different coaching dynamic. I'm used to team sports. I was a football player and I ran track. So, track is a little bit individual depending on what sport you're running in, but still your points are still going to the entire team to win the event, right? Yeah. Whereas in fighting, that's a very lucrative relationship. It's a very intimate relationship. He has to be able to trust that you're giving him the knowledge that he needs, and vice versa, right?
So you're not losing a game. You're potentially losing consciousness or the use of a limb.
That's correct. Correct.
Like you go into that knowing, like, hey, like, I'm trusting this guy with, like, my well-being here.
And I'm sure that there are coaches who want that name as well, and so you have to try and decide. You got to have a coach that's going to make the decision that's best based for you and not based for himself.
Yeah, and unfortunately that's rampant because you have coaches that, I don't want to call it, there's people that get paid.
Call a spade a spade.
There's people that get paid to, like, have their fighters go to shows that they know their fighter is going to lose. Like,
correct.
For, like,
I never understood that.
And it's the people involved in that practice are just not stand-up individuals, and I've been very fortunate to have great coaches and great teammates where, like, I see the right path to get, and also being exposed to the top level guys, like spending that time in Brazil, in Thailand, and Japan, and seeing the best of the best. There's a reoccurring theme, and it's like, it's obviously, like, hard work, showing up every day, and being honest with your guys and all that. Like, I didn't see, like, any shadiness from those experiences. Like, all the best people, like, do it the right way, if that makes sense. Like, it's easy to do it the right way, right? It's easy just to, like, pay attention and make adjustments and take notes and review your notes and review footage and do all these things and develop, as opposed to just, like, showing up and, like, all right, guys, like, let's spar, or, hey, you have a fight this weekend. Like, oh, developing people. Yeah.
Now, that being said, does Is that all that you are looking for in a fighter? Because, I mean, there's a lot of people out here that want to join fight teams, that want to get into the sport. What are you looking for? What qualities are you looking for in a person to become a fighter or potentially become a part of your fight team? Let's just say someone's out there training now that's looking for a home. I mean, obviously hard work, dedication is a big part of it, but talent does require, is a piece of it. What are the main things that you're looking for as a coach and a fight team leader?
I mean, coachability, being able to like take criticisms or critiques and use them as fuel, like not like have it affect your soul, like if I
your
say
psyche.
like, yeah,
Right.
people are overly sensitive, so someone who can actually be coachable and not take things too personally.
Now, do you find that fighters are sensitive? Because that sounds like an oxymoron.
Yeah, right. No, I think with the culture that we've developed at Coastal Combat, all of our guys have thick skin and they know it's all. I won't tell you that something's wrong without telling you a way to address it, to fix it.
Sure.
And I also like to do like compliment sandwiches. So you tell them something like they're doing good, tell them something they need to work on, finish something that they're doing good.
Got it.
Because then they don't feel like a piece of shit. Right. What I look for in a fighter would be, show up to class, show up early. Don't wander in late. Don't leave early. I can't teach you how to be a fighter. I can't teach you how to be responsible with your time. I can teach you techniques.
Sure.
I can do my best to hold you accountable for showing, but it's all like you said, it's an individual sport. So, I'm also learning to let go, and when people aren't going to the standard that you see for them, just they're on their own path. You can't let it be personal to you if people aren't showing up or,
that could be hard though,
yeah,
coach, sometimes,
yeah, 'cause you're
right?
investing a lot of time in it, but I'll just take that. I'm there at the gym anyway, so okay, if you had time with me or I thought you were gonna show up, I'll just grab this guy, and then he gets, my time. I don't think there's anything that you can look into someone and be like, that person's got it, because some of the people that I've seen get really good didn't have it at all to begin with, and some of the guys with a lot of talent, they give up too easily, too fast.
You know what, Coach? It's interesting you mentioned that, because as I'm listening to your story, right? When we first asked you about your beginnings, you came right into it and you're like, hey, listen, I wasn't an athlete, right? And then when you joined the gym, you kind of had to learn mechanics, kind of. Yeah. You had to kind of really learn from scratch. It just seems now, right, many years later, even going back to Brazil, right? You thought you were going to be in a one-bedroom. Yeah. Right? But you weren't, right? Yeah. By one bedroom, you were upstairs with 20 dudes. And
there was one bedroom.
Yeah, there was one bedroom.
We're going to be in there.
For everybody.
How many fighters
we're also living in that one bedroom.
But kind of going through all that and then ending up with, the fights you were involved in, going internationally fighting. Really, this was just it's ending in a compliment just to say that it seems like that travel and your technique and learning appears to be what would equate to be a great coach at the end, only because of what your feet, the shoes you were wearing on the way up, man. So just wanted to give you a shout out on that, Coach.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Jeff. I kind of lost my train of thought.
No, that's okay. So let's take it here. You guys have developed the gym. You've brought in some pretty decent talent, and you guys are making waves. Now you've got how many pro fighters? Chase has gone pro. Bill has now gone pro.
Chase and Bill, and then the brothers.
And then the brothers, right? And then the brothers. Okay, so from a coaching standpoint, I want to talk to you about just from the fighter standpoint, but from the coaching standpoint, now you've accomplished what you've set out to do, right? You've got people on, well, not completely.
We're on the path.
But you've got fighters on the big stage. UFC Fight Passes, Cage Warriors, those are huge platforms.
Sure.
And they're stepping into the ring wearing the Coastal Combat logos. And for my question is what's next? Now that you've got that, you said we're on the path. Where would you like to see Coastal Combat in the next 3 to 5 years?
I would like pros in every big organization. So whether that's UFC, Bellator, Glory, Pride or not Pride, One, Risen, any one of those.
So all of the disciplines.
Cage Warriors. As I want to get more guys into those big organizations. what I pride us in, was like what I lost train of thought on, is the fact that we've developed guys from scratch mostly. A lot of these bigger gyms, and no problem with it, but they've kind of like scouted talented guys, and it's like the facility in Florida, like Killcliff, like they have all these guys that developed elsewhere, and then they merge together. And
now they're all under our name.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like I really pride in Coastal, like with us having guys from scratch, essentially, with like the exception of like Chase had a wrestling pedigree, and Xavier had some training before. Xavier had some fights and training before he came with us, but everyone else started from the ground up with us, and we've developed people. And so like learning how to develop someone from scratch is much more. It's not difficult. It's much more rewarding than taking someone and like kind of like
refining it,
putting your stamp on them. Like they've already been developed, but now they moved.
I cleaned him up.
Yeah.
We shaved him.
There is some work. You can still be like prideful in that, like helping someone out.
Of course.
But like I really cherish the fact that
charcoal, the diamond.
Yeah. We're taking guys from scratch and like having Bill had his first PKB with us, and now he's in Cage Warriors, and in not too short order either. We're talking how like 4 or 5 years. 5 years.
I mean, are we counting COVID year?
COVID, that's elite.
Still counts to get the training.
Well, you fought in Arkansas.
Actually, I didn't fight last year.
We took the boys out to fight, bumfuck nowhere, Arkansas.
Wow.
Because
now that doesn't go under camo, so you've got an extra fight that's on your ticket that doesn't show up, huh?
Essentially, I think. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure how that works, but yeah,
it's
sure.
Not on camo, yeah. But
okay.
You won that fight.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So back to the professional side from you. You went 4-1, took the loss to Jordan. Before you made the leap to the pros, you were on a 3-win streak. And what at that point was, obviously you got offered a contract. That was a deal were you expecting that? Was that the motivation for you to go ahead and make the leap to pros?
I was not expecting it. I believe we were at the gym when you got the call about it, and I was already like,
shout out to Harvey.
Yeah.
Shout out to Harvey.
Shout out to Harvey.
Big Harvey.
Yes.
But yeah,
episode 6.
I was just training, and he comes in the gym and where's?
Oh, sorry. I broke my own rules, guys. Don't.
Hey.
Okay, got it. All right, sorry. Bad.
You're good.
Shame on you.
So yeah, I was just training at the gym, and Jake gets a call from Jordan. He talks to Jordan and puts him on speaker. Then they tell me and break the news to me. I'm like, cool. Like I was already motivated to go out there, fight, win, and do my thing, and get the state belt, and then do what the next steps were from there. But just hearing like, hey, like whoever wins this gets a contract with a professional, kind of like legitimate professional promotion. And so once they told me that, I was like, all right, cool. I'm just gonna this little added kind of like cherry on top type of thing, but I was already kind of motivated to go out there and
so it didn't change your no nerves, no anxiousness,
no,
adding that on top.
No, like weirdly I don't
very composed on fight day.
I usually am. Like most fighters have like a stage, right, where like they'll feel nervousness or like feel like that butterfly feeling in their gut, like leading up to the fight. Like earlier on, it was like the week of. I'd be like, I hope he gets hurt. I hope I get hurt. Something stupid like that, where it's like you don't really want that to happen because you put all this work in.
Outlet.
Yeah. It's just that second, like kind of like voice that's like second guessing you, really, right?
Got it.
And then as I've gone out and done different things now, it's like that small window would shrink and shrink and shrink and shrink, and it always had a stopping point for me. And like a lot of fighters have different stopping points, and I mean like when I'm getting my hand wrapped. When I used to have that feeling, like as soon as I'm getting my hand wrapped, I'm like, nope, I'm good to go. Once my hand wraps are on, I'm ready. I'm focused. I'm good to go.
You hit the switch.
Yeah, it pretty much is just like, hey, no, I'm sole train of thought is fighting this guy across from me in this cage, type of thing. And so as I've gotten more experience here, like I don't have that feeling at all anymore. I'm pretty composed, and like I've gotten really good at compartmentalizing everything as far as like family life, school life, work life, gym life type of thing. And so it's very much like a mental aspect for me. That didn't work out quite as well for me for this last fight of mine. But for the most part, like I'm there.
Knew all the stuff that
okay,
you were dealing with.
So and we're gonna get there. So you get that win.
Yeah.
Epic 48, I believe it was.
Yeah.
So you get that win at Epic 48. What does that feel like? What is going through your head right now? Like, are you like, I'm here?
It was validation.
I've crossed the line.
Yeah, it was validation. Like prior to that, I had the opportunity to go out and train with other, like at that time, pros while I was still amateur. So I was out here training with people that should be like skill sets above me and stuff like that, and I'm holding my own. So that was kind of validation going into everything and knowing like, hey, like this is kind of like a model like I try to strive by. It's like, hey, you're not nearly as good as you are, but you're not nearly as bad as you think you are.
Right.
You're somewhere in between there.
Okay.
And so I had those experiences as just more validation, like, hey, you're on the right track, you're progressing. Then that fight took place, and, you know, number one in the state versus, at the time, I was like 13 or 17. I mean, it's just a number. It's, I mean, any given Sunday, right?
Correct.
That's a football term right there, any given Sunday.
So Bill, you get that win, right? And then that following fight, is that a fight that you lost?
No. So I won my pro debut.
You won your pro debut.
Yeah.
The fight after that.
Yeah.
Okay. What happens, or what's the internal feeling, man, when, you know, you step into a situation, your pro debut,
Coming off a four streak win, win streak.
Exactly. You've just won 4 in a row, big win, and then you step into a situation where maybe you had a tough fight, and you take a L. How does the internal feeling feel? Like what's going on up here, like in the mind? So,
I mean, you'll hear this term a lot, especially in the world of like combat sports. You know, it's highs of highs, lows of lows, for sure. So that morning, I got a call from my dad, who let me know that he was in the hospital because he has non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
The morning of the fight.
The morning of the fight. Yeah.
Wow.
So the morning of your last fight.
Yeah.
Your first L. You get a call from your father that he's in the hospital.
Yep.
Wow.
I mean, there's some other stuff too, but I'm not gonna get into that because
Personal.
That's not mine
To share.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Got it.
Sure.
So so that happens the morning of the fight, and at that point, I'm already locked in, loaded to go. I'm like, no matter what, like, I'm fighting. This is happening. I'm going out and I'm doing this.
So you're still locked in.
Yeah.
You don't, at that point, you're not even internalizing that your dad's in the hospital.
No, like fully
Looking
cognitive aware.
Looking back at it now, do you think that it affected you?
Yeah, I think I for sure can.
For sure.
Like watching the fight and just being like, knowing like the game plan, everything I worked on, everything I know, the IQ I have for fighting, and kind of like understanding, hey, when to keep my distance, when to close my distance, what to throw in what situation, depending on that distance. Like, it was like, I watched it, and I'm just like, we must have hit like 100 elbows, like the last 2 weeks leading up to that fight. I didn't throw a single damn one. And like a lot of the people I train with will know, like, hey, since I've become a professional, I'm very elbow friendly. Like, I'm like, hey, I can finally throw elbows, but I'm throwing anytime I can.
I think one of the commentators actually mentioned it in one of your fights. She's like, hey, I'm a professional. I can throw elbows now. And he's like, he's taking advantage of it.
Yeah, yeah.
So I've watched both of your pro fights too. So your first fight, you went up against a grappler, and you were very conscious of keeping yourself out of his grasp and keeping him on his toes. And even when you got on the ground, you were keeping him very occupied to where he wasn't able to do anything that he was trying to do. In this last fight, you started out really well. It still started out very well. You guys were all hands. He shot a takedown.
Yeah, it was a great takedown.
And the takedown was decent. He was able to get full mount. But the reason I said maybe you weren't all there was because I saw you just kind of hanging your arms out there, which I've never seen you do before. And I hadn't seen the fight, but I was like, he's just kind of hanging his arm, and you could see him. He was kind of like looping you to see if you were going to pull it back, and when you didn't, he wrapped. Yeah. And you still almost got out of it. And when he tapped, you could instant frustration. You banged the ground like, damn it, like I made a mistake, And then he mocked you with the blood in the ring.
I like to give his homage.
Yeah, he paid homage, right? Yeah. So, but having to watch that back, like we said, after a four win streak, you're coming off. You just signed a contract. You're now doing this professionally for money. It's how do you refocus to get ready for the next fight that's coming up?
So like immediately after, like I was clearly upset, and I wasn't as upset that I lost, because everyone loses eventually, right?
Right.
Is that it's lost time, you know, because I had kids and family and all that other stuff. So, but after that, it's like I allow myself to feel shitty for the first 24 hours. After that, it's like, okay, turn the page. Let's watch the fight a few times, figure out where I went wrong, and then from there, kind of start developing again and kind of starting from scratch. Like, hey, like if this is my weakness or if this is what went wrong in that fight, what do I need to make sure I get better at it, right? So that way, next time I am in this cage and someone thinks that they're going to shoot a takedown on me easily, either stuffing it, welcoming it with a knee, welcoming it with whatever to make sure that people realize, oh, wait, he's not just one-dimensional, right? He can defend this, he can attack this, and in fact, now he can actually shoot, go for takedowns, and various other things.
Making
make sure I'm well-rounded. Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, so and then just going off that, I mean, I got some time now, too, until March, so I'm planning on trying to do a few competitions in between then just to keep that competitive spirit alive. Not like it needs much, like, drive, right? But just, make sure I'm staying active. Yeah, more reps.
So, Coach, from your aspect, with I'm sure you cornered that fight.
Yeah.
So you were there when the call comes in. What's your thoughts when that call comes in?
You know, there's like a duality going on because one side of it's a great opportunity for Bill. The other side, I'm thinking he's too green to make the jump. But do you do it now when he's of the right age and Cage Warriors doesn't ask twice, you know, as opposed to having him go through the gauntlet of small shows with no recognition and having to fight your way into a Cage Warriors, into one of these feeder promotions as they're considered. I mean, Cage Warriors isn't really a feeder promotion because they sell like pay-per-views and stuff. But
they feed into the UFC.
Yeah, but like, like an LFA or something like that kind of gets you into the UFC. You have to go through do the chicken ranch shows, like out in someone's backyard and take some fights. Like, there's some like low-level pro fights which they have their merit, but like if we can skip past that, is that not a benefit? And you know, you got to like think, okay, like Bill's age, he's not 21 years old, so he's got less time to get into these big shows. And you know, the other part, I'm like, well, he's a little green with some of his grappling, right? He's a really good striker, really creative, but he's a little green with his grappling, and it showed in the last fight. So, but that doesn't mean you can't make waves, you know, in these big promotions, especially with an exciting style. You know, you can put asses in seats. He's got an exciting style. So I didn't want to keep that from him, and it's far be it from me to like say no to something. But at the end of the day, I thought it was a good opportunity, so I said let's run it. You know, let's go.
Sure. So now he wins the first one.
Yep.
The second one, we come into some hard times.
Yeah.
Where are your thoughts? And where do I have to take my fighter from here?
Bill knows the answer.
Yeah.
He needs more mat time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, he's got interesting family. Having 3 kids, 3 young kids, it's tough.
Twins.
So it's like,
dad.
So that's number one responsibility. As much as like, you know, I'm the coach, like you need to fight, like not need to fight, but you know, you need to train. His family's number one. So making sure he's able to prioritize that and get the mat time, that's something that we're working on right now to make sure he can be as consistent as possible. Plus, he just came off the injury from his elbow, so he couldn't really grapple.
Okay.
And that's what we want to – we're not going to, like, ease up on the striking. We're going to potentially try to get him a Muay Thai fight along with some grappling tournaments before the next Cage Warriors outing, kind of depending on what the contract says. We have to look into it and see if he's allowed to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, going back to the drawing board phase, it's one of the fun parts too, because it's like really like, hey, and we know we have to work on. We've known weak points, but we didn't know like how exposed they were. So it's like, okay, like it's a learning lesson. It's like you win or you learn. Like,
got it.
You don't lose. Like we got a bunch of great data from that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, throw some more elbows, especially in that range.
Yeah.
But like the way I saw, like there was like in that fight, he like it wasn't a hesitation, but like I think there's so much. It's not taking anything away from his opponent.
Oh
Great
yeah,
fighter,
no, not at all.
good arm bar,
Yeah.
solid. But like Bill almost like froze, and I think like some of his brain is like occupied with some of the news that he had recently. You know, he shared the thing with his father. He had other things personally going on that I didn't know until later either. And
so they weren't aware of the personal issues going into the ring?
No.
That was one of my other questions. What when you got the news? Obviously, what would you if you had have known, if he had have informed you, would you have told him to fight?
I wouldn't have changed anything. It's probably good that he didn't say anything, because then people are going to treat you differently and not like be task at hand. And it's like, I mean, if he had made the decision that he was going to do the fight regardless, then him telling me wasn't going to change anything.
Yeah,
true. It is what it is, and. It probably would have been to his detriment to tell us, and like us like worrying like, oh, is he going to be okay? Is his mind in it? Yeah. We just carried on like, just another day in the office, and there was a little lapse in judgment or timing, and he zigged when he should have zagged, and all very fixable. Yeah. All very fixable.
No, it wasn't like he came out and dominated you.
I say we run it at any circumstance. I say you run it back a couple of times, and he wins the majority of those fights.
I agree.
Especially if you take out the caveat of him having some mental duress. You know what I mean? If he was just kind of clean slate, Bill wins that fight. But
and that goes back to
tougher guys.
Yeah, that goes back to that whole phrase again. To any given Sunday, it doesn't matter how well trained you are, how well prepared you are. Sometimes shit's gonna happen.
Life happens, right?
Be prepared to learn.
And I think that was Bill. Just to let you know, that was for me. That was the emphasis behind the question, right? Just letting folks know that a lot of times, the viewers, right? We get caught up in watching you fighters fight, right? And forgetting that you guys have lives, and there's still this, you're still dealing with life, behind that curtain. You know what I mean? And this is kind of a scenario where, unfortunately on fight night, you were confronted with some news and you had to deal with that and you had to fight. You know what I mean? So you guys, although you're looking human sometimes, you guys are human.
So kudos to you for even taking that fight under that. I don't know if I would have had the mental.
Yeah, I mean, we took that fight
fortitude for that.
2 weeks out, something like that, and then, like I said, that happened the morning of, and that's just like, okay, cool. And then the following week, I ended up flying out to the East Coast because that's my dad's still in New Hampshire. Okay. Yeah, so I ended up flying out there and helping him take care of stuff and trying to do what I can. And even now, it's it sucks obviously because I'm 3,500 miles away, trying to help and do what I can. Yeah.
It's tough.
Well, I mean, you sound like a good kid, and I'm sure your dad knows how much you care about him and look after him. So that's awesome. So I want to go back. I listened to you. We talked about you having to work. Now, there's a misconception that once you go pro, you get all this money, and you can just now train and do everything, right? So talk to me about the realities of signing a contract, some of the parts that people don't expect. You're clearly still working, so it's not like you signed a major 6-figure contract or something like that, right?
No, nothing like that. Okay. I mean, so I have a 3-fight contract, and it's a pretty decent beginning contract in terms of newly professional fighter. Okay.
Can you tell me? I don't know if you know, but can you tell me the range that a professional fighter should expect? Just going into a paid contract?
Yeah, it's such a sliding scale depending on who you are. Bo Nickel can go and get a pretty good contract because of his name, and he's got 2 fights, right? Whereas someone without...
And what would be considered a good contract for Bo?
I mean, starting out 5 and 5 at the minimum.
5,000 a fight?
And that's not even UFC. Okay. UFC, I think they're paying, 7 or 8 and 8 to start. It used to be 5 and 5.
Okay.
But we have, I know fees. Pros that get paid, they get paid $500, and there's no win bonus, and it's $500 to show.
It's just a flat,
and you got to sell 10 tickets or 20 tickets, so it's this was a lot better than that, but by no means is he raking in the big bucks, and then you got taxes and all that fun stuff.
Sure.
Uncle Sam.
Coach, is there in those contracts, obviously from watching the big UFC fights, there's, win bonuses, match bonuses, things that they can have. But on this level, do you guys go into it with, like you said, a 5 for 5, and then maybe there's some other kind of stipulated incentives in there around that?
They do give out win bonuses.
Give you there's the win bonus, and there's finishing bonuses
submissions,
knockout. So my first fight,
still have potential to get some little extra.
They'll wet your beak a little bit if you perform well.
Get you to come out and perform.
Yeah, and then of course there's sponsorships and stuff of that nature, which again at this level is kind of more you get some of your recovery protocols paid for, and you get some free supplements. It's not a whole lot of checks. I mean we have a couple guys who have some paid sponsorships, you know. Shout out to all the sponsors for Coastal Combat.
Yes. Shout out sponsors. We love you.
But yeah, I mean, it's a passion project for everyone at the gym. No one's getting rich. No one's making ends meet from fighting.
It definitely isn't a sport you go into for the money.
Yeah,
because you know the realistic possibility of that happening is on the lower end, and you go in for it because of, at least for me in my case, it's the passion I have for it and just the kind of like the chess moves of it all is the competitiveness that I love about MMA for sure. That's what drives me for it anyways, and that's what's gotten me into it and continues to keep me into it. So
if let's just say, you know, we're wishful thinking. We win this next fight. That's the end of your 3-year. That's the end of your 3-fight contract. Do you go back to the negotiation board? Do you then try to shop to another promotion? Like, what's the next step from there? What do you do?
That's a good question. We need to have that discussion.
Yeah.
But you know, I wouldn't be opposed with staying with Cage Warriors. I think they're a great promotion. They run their shows very professionally. Limited interactions I've had with Graham. He's a great guy.
Oh yeah.
Shout out Graham Boylan.
Yeah, there's a lot of
I have like immense respect for all of them, especially Graham Boylan. Like I made like a GoFundMe page and stuff like that for my dad and a post about it, and Graham was like the first one to comment on it, shared it, sent it on his story, did all this stuff, and then at the promotion do the same thing. So it's just like,
very cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I mean, I'd be pleased to continue to fight for Cage Warriors, and I think he's, you know, even Graham's aware, like the guys on his card are trying to get to UFC or trying to get to these big promotions, and so that's why, like, you know, for instance, Patty the Batty still has a great relationship with Cage Warriors, but he's in the UFC, so that's what I hope for Bill.
Well, he's actually being managed by Graham, I believe.
Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, so it's like
Graham is Patty's manager.
Yeah, so like he gets it. So it's like, is Cage Warriors' end goal? No, but it's a great place to be.
It sounds like it.
Super stepping stone.
We would stay there, kind of depending on what's going on, and or one of the big promotions, Bellator, UFC, one. But he's got a lot of development to still do. You know, there's like a lot more to gain. I think Cage Warriors or something of the like would be a good place to stay. We don't need to go backwards, but we also don't need to like springboard, you know, skip steps, because we kind of already did that in a way. Like we kind of went from Epic to Cage Warriors. Epic is a great amateur show, but usually people take like more incremental steps into a Cage Warrior. So, you know, he got very fortunate, and he's making the most of the opportunity, and we as a gym are making the most of the opportunity. We're also not naive to the fact that, you know, like, ooh, you have 2 Cage Warriors fight like that, or 3. Let's go fight, you know, in the UFC right now.
Yeah, it's like that. You gotta have a realistic viewpoint for everything, for sure. I mean, confidence out, you know, the ass, but you gotta have a realistic viewpoint for sure of being like, hey, again, you're not as good as you think you are, but you're not as bad as you think you are. So stay the course.
But I've seen you with some UFC vets. You hold your own.
Yeah.
You know, just gotta, as long as they. Yeah.
Now trying to balance the family life and the wife's military. Let's say your career takes off. What happens there? Because I would imagine you would start training more on a full-time basis.
I mean, that's the goal for sure, but it really all depends between you know, my wife, my mother-in-law, the kids, and everything like that. So, like, even right now, I work for some pretty cool people who are really flexible with my schedule. So like they know, like, hey, full-time fighter, more or less, like I'm training, or at least I'm trying to train every night. Last couple months have been a little bit more different because obviously leading up to the fight, I'm in like full fight mode, full camp mode. So my time at home is limited.
Got it.
So my wife and mother all kind of understand that and deal with it. And then post-fight, it's when it's like, okay, I got to get back to dad duty. I got to spend more time at home, especially with my wife leaving, possibly leaving in the next couple of months for an extended period of time. So it's got to require a little more finagling and managing of my schedule going forward. So like even right now, I'm trying to get like jiu-jitsu classes on base. So that way I can reach out to some coaches I know that also do jiu-jitsu. Come coach this class. Come do this. So that way I can go do jiu-jitsu. Go do jiu-jitsu in the morning, and then maybe even in the middle of the day for like my lunch break, and then be able to hang out at home, then go home or go to the gym afterwards and train. So basically just trying to get repetition. I mean, even like right now, my schedule is like I get to the gym because I technically don't have to work until 7, but I get to the gym for like, I don't know, like 5:10, 5:20. I do my cardio, go about doing my normal work routines of like scheduling appointments, doing body assessments, sitting down, talking to people, and then
armbar real quick.
Yeah, that's the goal. That's the
body
goal.
mass.
Not yet, but that's the goal. And then
you didn't lose enough this week.
Let's go roll. Let's go roll. And then and then strength training in the afternoon during my like lunch break, and then go back to work, and then go home, and then gym. So
Wow.
it's what my schedule is like right now. Now I'm just trying to implement it and change it around a little bit more, especially going forward, so that way I can have more mat time, get a lot more rolling in, not just with my gym, but other gyms that we're also friendly with that we work with. So like Excel.
Excel, shout out Excel.
Excel. So hitting them up to see like, hey, like can I roll at 6 a.m.? Do you guys have 6 a.m. classes type of thing? If not, trying to get a little group together of people that don't mind getting up super early, because I'm up early every day anyways. So
twins ain't gonna let you get up late. I ain't worried about that.
Bill, how old are the kids at home?
So the twins are going to be 3 in February, and then the youngest is just over a year.
So Bill, I asked that because I have I have 3 kids. My son, he's older, he's 26. My daughter, she's at San Diego State, she's 18. Jeffrey Jr. 6. I train about, and by train just heavy weights, cardio, floor work, and stuff like that. I'm in the gym 4 to 5 times a week. I'm a professional. I'm a corporate manager as well for a company as well. And between work and gym life, sometimes I got to get crafty with, sometimes I got to go to my local gym that's in our community versus my big gym, because if I do it in the morning, then I can come straight home, Minecraft with Jeffrey Jr., because he's expecting that. Or, you know what I mean? Or, I got some, just as far as the kids are concerned, man, how do you juggle that? How, is that a thing in your house too, where like the kids, they wanted to see daddy, you know what I mean? But, you got a lot of things going on.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely, like I said, like compartmentalizing everything,
Sure.
Especially, I mean, not just that, I'm also doing school. So I also do like online school and everything else.
Wow.
So like it's just like one thing to the next.
Yeah.
That's pretty much my schedule. And even like today, like we talked earlier, like after this, I gotta go hit a birthday party up. Right.
That's right, man.
It's like my wife is being a super mom right now. She's like, hey, like it's gotta be hectic, and I have so much anxiety having to take these 3 kids. So you better meet me here. I'm like, I got you.
I will be there.
Yeah.
How does she support your fight career? I mean, she's been with you obviously from the beginning.
Yeah.
How does she see things? How does she view it?
So she's definitely supportive. I mean, I'm still getting to do it.
I'm still married.
Yeah, I'm still married.
That's right.
Still married.
Still on.
Yeah. Sorry, ladies. So she's definitely, I mean, supportive in the sense like, hey, like I understand you like doing this. I want to do this, but I also understand and recognize like it takes a toll on her. One, because of the amount of time that I'm not there,
right,
and also just, I mean, nobody wants to see their loved one go inside a cage and try and beat someone else to death, and then have someone else try and beat them to death. So that takes a toll on her at all times. Like whenever we have fights or events going on, but she's always there in the crowd. Besides this last time, so we're low key blaming this last fight on her because she was.
Wifey, come on.
No, she said she was the lucky charm, but she wasn't there. Yeah. No.
You're gonna be my lucky charm and then not show up.
No, but. Yeah, between her and my mother-in-law, I mean, they hold down the fort for sure.
That's dope.
Yeah, I mean, if it weren't for them, I wouldn't be able to do this. And if they weren't okay with it, I wouldn't be able to do this at all.
Of course.
It's all about having that support. So
that's what's up.
Yeah.
Good deal, man.
So going forward, everything goes the way you'd like it to go. Let's say you're gonna have setbacks, but if everything goes the way you want it to go, what legacy would you like to leave on the sport?
Someone that was passionate about it and made sure that every time you saw him fighting, you were excited and ready to see fireworks happen, because that's what I envision every time I fight, is that I'm going to go in there, I'm going to try and make something happen. I'm going to try and make something big happen. I'm trying, and in dramatic fashion, whatever it may be. I mean, I had like a little viral moment there where my first professional fight, I got some blood right here, wrote my initials on the mat and shit like that. And none of that was planned or anything. It's just being in the moment. I was like, fuck this. I'm going to do this real quick. And then next thing you know, my friends were like, hey, you got to get a Twitter.
Okay.
I was like, okay, cool. So I ended up getting a Twitter, and I was like, yeah, that was cool for a moment. But definitely try and go out there and make sure that I have a style that interests people that people want to see.
Now, I bringing up social media, you are an exciting fighter. You've been, you obviously you had an exciting amateur career. You've, you're dominating right now. You're 50%, but we understand the loss you took. Why don't you promote as much on social media? Are you not a big social media guy, or is that just something that's foreign to you?
No, I am. I'm definitely on social media. I think a lot of it, especially after the fight, it's something or it's like, yes, I am compartmentalizing. I'm trying to make a balance, but something falls through.
Okay. So
that's one of the things. And a lot of times saying, I'd rather that fall through than something important like family.
Got it.
There you go.
But, yeah, no, that's definitely something like I'm trying to uptick a little bit more here, especially coming into a new year and having so many things going on.
Yeah,
so.
we were having a discussion about a term that they call NIL, N-I-L, which is name, image, likeness.
That's right.
And we were talking about how, some of these younger kids, for instance, we have a basketball star out of San Diego, California, Mikey Williams. Shout out to Mikey Williams, who is still in high school, 3.6 million followers on IG. He's got a 3-year contract with Puma. He's getting these brand endorsement deals because of his social media. Yeah. And he's obviously, there's other great basketball players around the United States. I'm sure he's not the only one, but him making, these kids now making their names for themselves before they get out of high school is something that they're able to do. And I think that it should be the same for you guys.
Yeah,
we were talking about that earlier before we started, that what we would like to see is you guys getting approached with real contracts, not just the bullshit contracts, and because they know right now that you need them more than they need you, right? Mm-hmm. They've got a huge pool to take from, so they can pick and choose who they want, and they don't have to pay you because everybody's, hey, I'll damn near do it for free. Just give me some type of notoriety, some recognition. We think it needs to be reversed. We think that you guys should be able to market yourselves the same way these young basketball players, these young football players are, and saying, hey, I'm going to bring money into your promotion. You know that. You've seen my fights. You see how exciting of a fighter I am. I'm dedicated to bringing in the fireworks, as you just said. That's a commodity to them. That's an asset to them. So if they know they've got a fighter, they should be paying for that, right? So it is very important for you guys to build your names up, and that's part of the reason why we have this platform, so that people know you more, people get to see you more, so that you shouldn't have to shop yourself around. You guys are contact sports. This is the most contact you're going to get out of any sport. Baseball players are sitting in the outfield with $400,000 chains on, waiting for a ball that may never come. Football players have complete gear on from head to toe. Hockey players,
4 chains on them too.
Yeah, still got 4 chains on.
I was going to say, I think chains.
And you've got you guys who are out here fighting in 4-ounce gloves, which the leather alone weighs 2.6 ounces. I make gloves, I know. So that leaves about an ounce and a half of padding between my knuckles and your face. And I get the least amount of compensation. Mm-hmm. It just seems backwards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We feel like you guys are the ones putting your lives on the line, putting your full bodies on the line, limbs, noses, ears, eye pokes, all kinds of things, not to mention just the concussions and the things that come with it. You're getting literally kicked in the face with no shins, no nothing. There's there's nothing to brace that impact. So we want to make it so that you guys are getting more money. You guys are getting better looks, and you have that name notoriety coming out like, hey, I'm not going to take that contract with you because it's not enough money. Mm. You want me to fight? I need this. I have kids. I have twins. I have a wife. I have things that I need to support. You're going to make the amount of dollars on this event. Me fighting once, twice, 3 times, especially if I win all 3 times. Now I'm a cage warrior veteran, and getting a belt or competing for a belt, you're almost a shoo-in to get to the next level, right? Mm-hmm. That's just the way it works. So we think that it just needs to be a little bit more defined. That path needs to be a little bit more defined, and if we can do anything about it, we're gonna do that. So
I appreciate you for sure.
We appreciate you guys, man. We definitely
very much.
I've followed your career. I have no doubt that this next fight you're going to be on a different level, just mentally and physically. You've got a wonderful coach and Coach Jake and Jordan over there at the Coastal Combat Team. Question for you guys. Now, you guys seem to be pretty much focused on your fight team. Are you guys doing anything as far as offering classes and stuff for the community and stuff? So can they come in and
anyone, all ages, all experience levels.
Tell them where they can find you.
Our gym is at 1987. Nope. 1842. I was reading off my personal address. 1842 Ordway, Oceanside.
Don't show up at his personal house, please.
We'll edit it. Don't worry, Coach.
You get the other kind of training, though.
I'm trained.
He's got a single room for you.
There we go. Exactly.
So it's you said 1842.
1842 Ordway in Oceanside. It's kind of tucked away in the business parks. We're actually located inside High Performance Training Center, which is the building that we rent space from. We're hoping in the near future we'll have our own facility. And that'll allow us to have more mat time, more mat space, and have more classes. But right now, if we have more people, we'll make more classes.
Got it.
It's just kind of right now we're hand to mouth right now. And the focus on having the fighters be proof of concept for what we're able to do.
Got it.
So it's easier to show through our actions, like, this is the quality of your training. Look at these guys who started with us, who are now in Cage Warriors, who are now in, Dana White
brand notoriety,
doing these things, as opposed to we're kind of doing it backwards, right? A lot of people, they make their gym schedule so they can make their money. They have their kids class, their women's self-defense, their bag conditioning class, and then a fight team at the end. Well, we're starting with the fight team. We're renting space at a very economically viable spot, and that'll be proof of concept. And as we get more people showing up to our regular classes, and you show up, you're just a regular person who's never trained, you will be training with Bill. You will be training with our fighters.
That's dope.
You won't be sparring and taking concussive hits from them or anything. But
you'll be signing a waiver.
Yeah, you'll be training alongside professionals.
Yeah, we have a handful, a group of kind of recreationalists, right?
Hobbyists.
Yeah, people that different ages, backgrounds, heights, weight sizes that'll come train with us, and everyone's training together. So fighters training with people that have no intention of fighting at all, and vice versa. So for sure.
It gives you a good mind state, and you're working with some people who are passionate and dedicated. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Like Jake had mentioned too, it's seeing that success helps bring in more for sure. Even times where we'll have people that will come into the gym, have experiences in the past, whether it's training or fighting or whatever, will then come to one of our events to see us fight, and they're like, oh, wow, these guys are for real. I want to be part of this. Xavier was one of those people.
Yeah, Professor X, shout out.
He came out from another place, I think it was 29 Palms or whatever, and then he made his way to us via somehow, I don't know, and he came to, I think, my first title fight. For the first Epic belt. Yeah, he came out for that and saw it, and he's like, yeah, these guys are legit. This makes me want to fight and train, because he had talked to me afterwards about it. He's like, yeah, I'm down with this. I'm ready to do this thing. So
it's starting to snowball. We're starting to get some converts from other gyms that they weren't happy with, and they're now coming over to us without us having to seek them out. But to your point, we really need to build our social media presence. That's something I'm lacking in. I'm very illiterate towards. I almost my excuse is it's almost it feels cringy to me because it doesn't feel natural for me to do hey, this is
to brag on yourself. Yeah,
this is the technique of the week, or all that. And shout out to all the people that do that and that do it well. There's some coaches I respect that do that. Just it's not in me, and I gotta get out of my comfort zone and do that so I can market the gym, so I can give these guys more opportunities, give these guys more training partners, because it's it's also that I got to be over the fact that it's I don't want to do this, and I got.
I'll put you in touch with some people. I just hired. I just hired a crew of people to handle my social media, and I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the posts and stuff that they're doing are coming out have been really good, and it's a forget it type situation. I send them pictures, content, they post it and do whatever they need to do, and I don't have to worry about it. So I still post on my own, but if I forget, if I lay off, they are making sure that the products are getting out there, making sure that people are seeing things.
Having that consistency and the timing and the messaging and everything looks sharp. It's
now you guys have, what is the current belt count? You guys can see that they've got 2 Epic champions. They've got the Camo state champion before he went professional. How many? What is your belt count right now over at the gym?
So then Chase won the light heavyweight belt and defended it. So that's 2, right? Or did he just win it?
He won the Camo. He won the Epic belt. Then he defended it. So that was 3.
Yep.
And then
Xavier just won.
Xavier's got
Epic belt and
Camo belt.
That one's in question, so I don't want to The camo did some interesting stuff with that.
I've heard that one, and it is not in question. There was some shady stuff done by another promotion, which we will not name because we are classy around here.
Yeah.
And this is Luxury and Mayhem, but we have been with Epic for quite some time, and we have rocked with Epic because they are a classy promotion and they do things the right way. So that belt is not in contention, as some people may say. Professor X is the camo state champion.
We appreciate that.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah.
Give that man his flowers.
Yeah. So.
And if there's any disagreement on that, I'm sure we can fight it out.
Yeah.
That can be arranged.
Yeah, X will probably be making the transition to pro.
He should.
Yeah.
This guy is a seasoned amateur.
So, he can potentially meet up with the former state.
Yeah. There's only one way to figure out who it is.
Paid for it.
Yeah, that's what I think.
That's a hell of a fight.
That would be awesome.
They can both get paid for it as opposed to fighting it for the amateur. For this decoration.
Yeah, correct.
Right, so.
But besides that, I think that's a total of what?
8? Yeah.
So I got 3 and Chase got 3. Xavier, we'll count the 2.
So they're stacking up the gold over there.
Like a bunch of different trophies. So we actually need a bigger space too.
He said we need a bigger space.
Yeah, bigger boat.
Cool. We need a bigger boat.
All right. So any shots out before we go? Anybody shots out you want to give shots out to? Give some props to.
Yeah, shout out to my family for sure. Giving me all the support. That's including Coach Jake here. It's like a big brother, and Coach Jordan, same thing.
Okay.
Trust these guys, with my lives every time I step in the cage. Not only that, but shout out to my dad.
Shout out to Pops.
Shout Pops.
Right
Prayers
now,
are with you, Pops.
Yeah, fighting non-Hodgkin's lymphoma right now, trying to kick his ass the best he can. Go on my page. There is a link to the GoFundMe. So if you guys either feel like donating, I truly, deeply appreciate it. If not, please like, share.
We will put a link to that GoFundMe in this description.
That's right.
We'll definitely do that.
Yeah. Shout out to all my sponsors, Annie Farkas, Joy Wellness. You guys have helped me more than you know in terms of both financial and recovery. So shout out to my sponsors because, again, not getting paid nearly what
not yet.
I want, not yet. But you guys definitely help. So, yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Coach?
Yeah, shout out to Coach Jordan, who started Coastal Combat. He brought me into the fold because we've been training partners for a very long time, friends for a very long time. Shout out to all the people at Coastal Combat that made this dream a reality. I kind of put my competitive sights to the side, like my aspirations to the side. I want to get these guys going, and it's a pleasure every day to work with you guys and to really see the program develop and the people in the gym develop outside of fighting. It's a vehicle for human development, not just to be a better fighter, but be a better person. We got, we're building a culture. We have a family there. So I'm very happy to have my second family at the gym. And then, of course, all the sponsors that help support these poor, broke fighters. We appreciate it. If anyone's interested in sponsoring Coastal Combat, you let us know, and I'll get you in contact with our fighters. And, yeah.
Awesome. Well, we love you guys. We are absolutely thrilled at the progress that you guys have made. We're looking forward to seeing all of your fighters come out. Bill, we are looking forward to watching you. Hopefully in March, go get some redemption, and we're looking to see you in the big leagues. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode 8 for everyone here at the Luxury and Mayhem, the Mayhem facility. We thank you. Tonight's coupon code, because I always do it at the end, which hopefully you guys ain't catching on. Next time I'm switching it. I'm gonna switch it to like way in the middle. But for tonight, the coupon code for tonight is Coastal. Okay, COASTAL. That will be good for 48 hours after this episode airs. You can go on the site, get your rash guards, get your gloves, get whatever you need. We appreciate you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Again, hit the like and subscribe button, and we will see you on the next one.
Peace.
All right, we out.
That's cool.
Perfect. Yeah, that's good.